Coffee too?
Okay. Hello, people.
Hello?
Finally, we're here.
All right,
Okay,
we've worked everything out.
I've
Very
got
good, very good.
myself double now, but this is a bit weird.
It's okay. If people have double of you, that's a good thing, I think. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay. Okay, you've got the better camera though.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, I cut my hair and my hair's still sticking up. I didn't do my makeup and stuff this morning, so I just
There.
went straight into the studio willy nilly. This is unrefined. It's a bun. All right. So yeah, as I said, this is going to be unbearable stories. We're going to talk about some Reddit posts that Ripon and I have picked. I think they're
Yeah.
at least mine are going to be all related to men's mental health. It's Men's Mental Health Month, a very important topic. So Ripon decided to pick this theme for today as well. So yeah, good choice, Ripon. Yeah, very very nice.
Yeah, it's close to heart to me
It's close to heart.
because
Yeah,
because I have a son and a brother, and I mean a lot of I see a lot of things on the internet these days that are questionably. And I want to like put a different light on it. So that's why I wanted to tackle this topic today.
sounds good. Very well said. And I feel like probably maybe it's possible that we will disagree more than we usually will today than we do on other streams. But we'll see.
Really?
Maybe we're more aligned. I don't know. I just have a feeling we might disagree on a few topics.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm
it's
looking
interesting.
forward to this.
But I do enjoy talking to you about these things because even if we disagree, we there's a lot of healthy respect, and we tend to respect each other's opinions even if we don't agree with each other. So I
Yeah.
enjoy talking to you because of that. MC says I look beautiful. Oh wow, thank you very much, MC. Bare face, no makeup. Yeah, I'm barely here. MC says he's 41, old school Korean. He'll die if he doesn't get Rocket League, but Koreans are super patriarchal. Oh, you said I was beautiful. Thanks very much. All right, so uh,
There's egg hanging on my finger fingernails. Okay, your story, see you.
yes, so I'll start. This is one that I picked, and I had troubles coming up with specific men's mental health issues. So I looked through comments instead. So these are comments, not posts. So this one says, when I was 28, a couple of years ago, my 4.5 year relationship ended. But just before it did, my ex, 28 female, told me she lost respect for me when I had a mental breakdown after a traumatic personal event. I remember going to her and expressing how depressed and stressed I was, and her response was to be stronger. No conversation to help, just that it was embarrassing for me to be acting like that. She brought this up when it ended, still depressed from the recent event, and once again mocked me for being so affected by the situation. It was then I knew I was making the right choice to walk away. The mental health stigma will continue as long as women and men ridicule for reaching out and expressing these bad feelings, not just the good. And they said, edit, a little late, but I will clarify that it wasn't a full on mental breakdown. By my usual stoic demeanor, the sudden expression of sadness, grief, and general depression was as close to a breakdown as I've ever had. It left me in a very dark place, and the breakup only made me worse. Thank you for the kind words. It has been 2 years since then, and and while I haven't dated since, I'm aware that of what to look for in a future partner. All right.
Aw, poor guy. You hear that very often, don't you? That
Mm.
guys are like not allowed in relationships to like show any sign of weakness or emotion. I find that so strange. Oh, wait, Mailman is there.
Okay. We'll see you soon. So Cien, you say you're 300 years old and still singing. Oh, keep singing, Cien. Um, you look you don't look a day
It's
over
not technically.
200. No, just kidding. you you look like a young pretty lady, Cien. Um, you're 2 years old. At 2 years old you stole your mom's phone, Cherry. Oh, very naughty. MC Gum took his first cigarette drag of a cigarette when he was 4. You remember when you were
And he
2 years
shot
old?
his
Oh my
husband
gosh!
on his tooth.
Wow. MC's really lived. That's what I think. Did you get a good?
MC is special.
Did you get something nice, Ripon?
Get sun lotion.
You got sun lotion.
But it's really good one.
Hmm.
Um, well, I can make a commercial of it. It's the La Roche-Posay Anthelios Dermopediatrics, factor 50 plus. Um, this thing. Um,
Hashtag not sponsored,
or
but she would accept the sponsorship.
well, it's very good for kids that play in the pool because you can put it on wet skin. And it also like it if you rub it on the skin, it's not like it does not leave that white substance it sometimes does for other sun lotions. And what is that? Oh, they gave little samples for baby stuff. Thing is, I also use this,
Oh, there you go.
but it's very good. It's very good. Okay, we were talking about your story, and it was very, very relevant. So
Yes.
we were
So
talking about the fact that men are not allowed to show emotion or sadness or weakness or whatever.
you say that you find that strange that guys can't really show vulnerability, but I feel like at the same token, there's also the expectation for a guy to be the stronger one, and therefore, if they do show emotion and vulnerability, they will be rejected by their peers, their partners, their families, and so on. So
Yeah,
it's
I can see.
I don't think it's something that they necessarily want for themselves. Maybe some guys are like that, but I think definitely some guys want to open up and they feel like they can't because of um, just the general environment around them.
Hmm.
And there are definitely like,
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
I can see that that is a expectation. That's a societal expectation that comes from like the early years and stuff, where the man was the provider and blah 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 blah. Um, but there's still people out there where you can like. For me, it's strange because I am not like that. However, I can see that a lot of people are like that, and I feel like it's sad because I mean, how do I explain this? I don't really know.
So I would say not everyone's the same, and you're a counter example to that like generalization. But but I've definitely met women who are like this guy's ex girlfriend. Like
Mm-hmm.
they don't want guys to they want guys to be the stronger one, the shoulder to cry on. And if they see them vulnerable, they'll lose attraction for them. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, men should never be like that. I guess is what society tells us.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. And I have a lot of male friends and they've also like opened up like that to me.
I've even heard of like women saying, "Oh, I want my boyfriend to open up and be
The
more
moment he does,
communicative."
they're
And
like this.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
too much. Like I opened the door and I didn't want to see what's inside.
Yeah, I mean it's sad.
So Cherry says it's almost like showing emotions is considered feminine, which is BS. Yeah, I think we're tying ourselves
Well,
to like masculine and feminine
genders.
traits. I think is kind of
Mm,
not very good these days. I think attraction can be very shouldn't be boxed into these little categories like that. People should be attracted to whatever they're attracted to. It's literally human, but the stigma is actively hurting men. Yeah, I totally agree. This is why friend zone. Yeah, it's the classic friend zone problem that a lot of I hear a lot of guys talking about.
friend zone?
Yeah, yeah, it's like if they're very capable of expressing themselves to females, they'll
Yeah.
a lot of guys will say, "Oh, I tend to get friend zoned." I've heard that a lot.
Oh,
They don't
yeah,
consider
yeah,
them
yeah.
a viable masculine
See,
partner.
I find that very strange because for me, it's the opposite thing. If a guy cannot open up emotionally to me, I can't see myself having a relationship with that
Mm,
person.
mm,
Like, that's the issue that I have with a lot of men that I mean a lot. I mean a lot is an understatement because I really don't. I'm not even actively dating, but I am. I that the thing is when I don't have that, there's nothing going to happen. So
mm,
it's like I'm like the opposite. I don't want to stroke my ego with this or anything. It's just like why am I so weird?
mm. Well, you call yourself weird, but I think it's a good thing because if you're um if you're in a relationship, I think you'd want to be able to express anything, even your deepest emotion to your partner. And if you feel like you need to block that off from them to maintain their attraction,
Yeah,
then what kind of relationship is that? It seems kind of like it
exactly.
seems like a
Like,
pointless kind of thing to me.
but maybe that's also because I've also seen it at home with my parents and my grandparents. I don't know, but my my dad, I've seen him cry twice.
Mm,
That doesn't change any other opinion of my dad. I still see him as my dad. My brother, I've seen him emotional after like a breakup with his girlfriend, and I want to teach my son that it is okay to show emotion, but maybe it's better to do that though with the right people for you. There will be people who are just like, yeah, a-holes, so to speak, but in a relationship, in my opinion, it's like it works both ways. You should, as a couple, have like this partnership where one can rely on the other, and you know that when you have like emotional issues or things that are in your head, that you can talk to your wife and vice versa, and that information is private in that relationship, and you're safe to like be completely you. If
mm,
I want that from my partner, then my partner should get the same thing back.
mm. Well, I think we have very similar views there. I think the relationship should be a partnership, and it's not necessarily reliant on one person to be the shoulder to cry on and be the strong one to pick up all the
Yeah.
pieces whenever things are falling apart. I see it as like it's not it doesn't necessarily have to be even 50-50, but just like there's a two-way communication. Um, all right, Cherry, we'll see you soon. Mama
Hi,
says
Cherry.
she taught a music class last summer and was teaching a really young group. I did If You're Happy and You Know It. And when I did If You Were Sad and You Know It, Cry a Tear, there was a little boy that told me that boys aren't supposed to cry. Yeah, that's what society tells us.
Yeah.
All right, clap your paws. All right, do you want to go to the next one, Ripon?
Yeah.
All right. Whoops, it's blocking your face. Let me fix that while you.
That's okay. That's okay. I've blocked my face on my stream too.
Here you go. Is it has it come up?
Um, yes. Am I the a-hole for saying my girlfriend wasn't trying to communicate with me? Me, 20 male, and my girlfriend, 19 female, have decided to go to a concert a few cities away. The drive is probably 3 hours away, so we decided to stay in a hotel for the night. We agreed upon this about 3 weeks ago. I've been trying to book the hotel room ever since, but since all the hotels in our area that are worth their salt only booked to 21 and over, it's been a bit of a hassle. I had to coordinate with someone over 21, which has been difficult with the hours I've been working. I finally booked a hotel room last weekend and excitedly told my girlfriend, who immediately told me she couldn't go due to factors out of her control. I wasn't mad until she told me that she had found out 4 days prior. I was really mad at her because if she told me 3 days after she found out, which is still too long to wait in my opinion, then that would have been in time for me to not book the room instead of dealing with canceling it. Additionally, this is the third trip we've been on where she's told me critical details last minute and forced me to change plans drastically. So we fought about how she waited so long to tell me, and during the fight, she kept saying that she was trying so hard to communicate. I kept telling her not to say that because sending a one sentence text takes zero time or effort, and it took her 4 days. She ended up apologizing. I forgave her. We worked things out. That is until tonight when she said she was upset that I told her that she wasn't trying to communicate. She said I was invalidating her feelings and I told it was just a fact that she made no effort to communicate. She cried about it but eventually seemingly stopped being sad, but I can tell it still bothered her. Am I the a-hole boyfriend?
Well, it's a lot to break down, but I feel like from reading this, it seems like he's trying to set up this thing, this event for them, and she isn't really being helpful by saying
Mm-hmm.
she's just changing things at the last minute. I think it's really her. She to be a good partner and good communicator, she needs to help him. Like this is like he's doing all this stuff,
He's
and
doing
she's
the work,
and she's
right?
not really like supporting him in that. And now she's getting very upset that like he told her that she wasn't communicating, and he was right to say that. I think
Yeah,
so.
I
I
agree with that.
I don't really see anything wrong with his point of view so far.
I I agree, but the thing that bothers me the most is that she's like manipulating him into thinking that he's the one who's like not communicating well, saying she's feeling bad because he's invalidating her feelings because she's trying to communicate, then she starts crying. It's a form of manipulation. She's trying
Yeah.
to make him feel bad about something she did wrong. And he knows it, but now he's starting to question it because he sees it still bothering her. She's just trying to win a fight
Mm.
because
I
she
mean,
is wrong.
it's hard to like read into it exactly from just one person's point of view, but it seems like she's kind of
Boys.
toxic. Um, based
Yeah.
like I think you're right. Like it's she's trying to win the fight. She's trying to be the one in the right,
Like
and
also
it's
this
costing
guy
everything.
arranged everything. The concert arrangement that is gonna like what they're not going to the concert too. He probably looked forward to this and
Hmm.
he arranged everything and she's like, "Oh no, I cannot go." Like,
And it's
man, I
probably
would be mad too.
it probably would have been fairly expensive as well. I would imagine if to cancel the
Exactly.
stuff last minute. I doubt you'd be able to get any money
Hmm.
back. So it was expensive, and he
And
he
he had
organized
to
all
go
this
through,
time and effort.
yeah,
Yeah,
he had to get a third person to make the reservation because they're still younger than 21.
I feel like this is the kind of thing where like the she's not really like that mature. She's only
Yeah.
19, so I think of what the average 19-year-old thinks, and they can be very very uh how should I say this, like they change their plans
Childish.
quickly. Yeah, not every young person's like that, but
They're
that
not very balanced yet.
yeah, like a lack of self responsibility. I think you and I
Hmm.
are probably showing our age right
But
now.
Yeah, but on the other hand, there's only 1 year difference between them two, and he shows like a
Yeah,
lot more maturity.
yeah.
Is this the Land Down Under story reading channel? Uh, well, the bear is from the land down under. I am from the land of chocolate and beer.
Yeah, Rippon's from Belgium, the land of chocolate, and I'm from Australia, the land of poisonous snakes. So,
The only poisonous thing here is like rat poison.
kids these days, yeah. So,
Yeah.
MC has a story here. Let's see. He says he had a girlfriend our drive away, and she got drunk. I don't follow your story, MC. Yeah, sorry, I don't follow it. Do you have any final
I don't.
comments for this one?
I think he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
And he should not doubt himself. He is not the a-hole. It's okay to say to someone that she should communicate better. You're not attacking or validating her feelings.
Hmm. He's definitely
Instead,
the
he's
mature one.
communicating. Yeah,
He's the mature one,
he's
and I
communicating.
feel like he'll find someone at his level later on in life, hopefully,
Yeah,
and
poor guy.
maybe and hopefully she grows up.
Ditch the girl and find someone who wants to go on adventures with you.
Yeah, exactly, and appreciates it, right?
Welcome back, Cherry.
Welcome back, Cherry. Sorry, this one
Ooh.
was a bit long. It's a bit of a rant, so I'm sorry about that. I might not
It's
read the
okay.
whole thing.
I just see one word and I'm not sure what because I don't know what an incel is.
Okay, so an incel is involuntary celibacy. So it's like
Oh, someone who's like getting trouble to find like a partner to have intimacy with.
so usually it refers to men who want to be intimate with women, but are unable to for X reasons in their head. So that's
Yeah, okay.
yeah. And in honesty, I don't actually know a lot of these terms the person's talking about. So I'll just read them, and
Okay.
if the person if I'm missing anything, let me know. But yeah, I thought this was appropriate to the men's mental health issue thing, so I thought it was
Yeah,
interesting.
that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. So the person says, getting over hatred of women. I am a recovering incel. I was never into the red pill masculinity pickup side of things, but I was deep into the genetic determinism black pill stuff. And I'll just say now that I don't know any of what that stuff means apart
Wait,
from incel.
I'm looking up.
Yeah,
Read along. I'm
you
looking up
you
black
can
pill.
help me while I'm while I'm reading through this. This was a few years ago, and since then I've moved on from it. Graduated college and got a job that I love and I'm passionate about. However, as the fog is lifting, I realized that I truly have issues with women. Issues that predated my incel phase and still exist now. Deep rage and insecurity and depression. I actually clench my jaw and get a pit in my stomach whenever I hear/read women discussing their sexuality or preferences in men. I can't even handle the most innocuous, passive rejections or disinterest without it ruining my day. I never ever approach women or attempt to flirt. I can barely talk to them or look them in the eye. It's like I fundamentally cannot see myself as a sexual being that a woman would ever want. That is the whole aspect of life that has kept me from me because things are I cannot control. Sorry. I cannot believe that women can be good leaders. I truly believe that their judgment is clouded by catty social dynamics and the attractiveness of the men they interact with.
Ooh.
That I'll be overlooked in the professional setting if women have power over me, because I'll be judged based on my appearance and demeanor instead of my skills and accomplishments. Basically, I still cannot see them as full people or individuals. There are a women first and sometimes an individual second. I've been alone for years and I feel like I've missed out on my prime years to date. have sex, etc. And I feel like the reasons for it are arbitrary and unfair. I don't know what to do. I do not want to go down a path of increasing despair and anger. I don't want to be alone forever. I want a relationship and female friends in theory, but I cannot connect to or respect women in practice. Okay, well, I think I'll leave it there.
Whew.
what,
Wait,
what,
wait,
what,
wait.
what do you think?
I think this I think this person is dealing with a lot of dark feelings, insecurities, and probably has been like hurt on a very deep level by women.
Hmm, yeah.
Because you don't grow, you are not born like this. This is not, I mean, this has to come from something.
Hmm, hmm. What I see is like there are these growing groups, usually congregating on the internet. I've heard of the term incel before, and they
Mm-hmm.
have what they see is a lot of women rejecting them, and then uh, they become angry at women for rejecting them. So that's kind of the point of view that they're taking.
Well,
So,
it's not that I don't want to like side with incels or anything, but I can see that if you get rejected time and time again, a certain frustration is gonna grow and your confidence is gonna drop.
mm,
So I can see where it comes from. But sadly, that I mean, they have the tendency to then generalize all women,
yeah, yeah,
which is not the case. There are a lot of bad women,
hmm,
but there's also a lot of decent women.
mm,
Maybe they just have like this attraction towards women that are not good for them.
true,
Um,
yeah. Uh,
I would suggest this person some therapy though to deal with his anger issues and
mm,
his depression and his insecurities. Because intimacy, yes, you can get that from someone else, but happiness, you have to find that within yourself. You cannot lay that burden upon a partner or another person to give you that to you. That is something you have to create for yourself. You've got to feel happy and confident with who you are, how your life is, no matter how it is. I mean,
mm.
yeah, being alone sometimes sucks, but if you work on your own, then you might draw in the right people for you.
I feel like this person is thinking that if they've got like a partner, this gives them
Mm-hmm.
like a self like a self of I mean a sense of self esteem. But I don't think that
Yeah,
automatically happens because I feel
no.
like in life you need to be happy with yourself, who
Yeah,
you are, and be happy alone. If you're not, then I don't think anybody can really complete you. Relying on somebody
yeah,
else to do that is an unreasonable expectation on someone. It can happen, but if it does, it's more. I feel like it's more of a bonus than a requirement because if you're without your partner for whatever reason, your life will be completely derailed. So uh, I,
yeah.
I just think it's more that you should be happy and confident in yourself, and then think about other things, such as
Mm-hmm.
why potentially he feels that women don't like him or whatever. And I think yeah, there's some other points that chat was saying, like he doesn't view women as people, and I thought it was unsettling that he said, "I don't believe women can be good leaders," or like that's kind of
Yeah,
that's
he's
pretty
generalizing
discriminatory.
a lot.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's. I mean, certainly some women can't be good leaders, but some men can't be good leaders as well. Yeah,
exactly. But
it's
it doesn't really help his I mean, if he's going with this mindset, it's not going to make it easier for him to actually create something with a woman
true,
because
true.
I mean I'm very open and I'm open to a lot of people and different views, but if you come to me like, yeah, I don't see you guys as people or individuals and you're too emotional and you can't be good leaders, I'm like, uh
Yeah,
okay,
and
let me get out of here.
yeah, he wants a relationship with a group of people he thinks you know, have terrible judgment is what he says, and are only judged and only care about attractiveness of men and can't think about anything else. And they can't be,
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
incompetent
the fact
and
the fact
like
that he
it's
says in his last sentence, "I want a relationship and female friends in theory, but I can't connect or respect women in practice." I mean,
it's so
I
many
mean, if you
contradictions.
yeah, I mean, if you don't respect, I mean, it's you can generalize this. If you don't respect a guy, then you're not gonna have a connection with that person either. You're gonna have to work. He has gonna have to work on that first.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know. He must have been. I think he must have been really hurt by someone or multiple people in the past because this is just crazy.
Um, I I agree, but I think also that um, it's got to do with the internet a lot. Like there are a lot of
Hmm.
these enclaves of thought that kind of like other people with the similar thinking, and then they
Oh,
all like talk and
yeah,
stuff.
that's why I wanted to get into this mental health thing because I've seen a lot of what they call the red pill podcasts, like whatever podcast and Ben Shapiro and that weird woman Pearly, whatever. Um, and they're all like, yeah, women, nah, 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 and men are oppressed, and blah blah blah, and they're like getting like statistics that are completely wrong. When they get asked questions that are to the point, they cannot answer it, but they're creating a division. So all these so-called incel people are actually people who really crave like love and affection
Mm,
and a real connection with a person. And what they are creating is actually giving like fuel to their short-term frustration and
mm,
negative feelings, but not creating a space where they can like openly show how they feel, how they truly feel, give them like support and actually help them find that person and that life they actually want. They're just feeding into the negativity and claiming money for it. It makes me so
mm.
angry.
Yeah, so you've turned someone who wants to have a connection with other people and fueled that energy into anger and online hate and abuse. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
because
very good point.
it's not men versus women. In the end, it's the family unit that is important. That's
Mm.
how it's always been.
All right, so do you want to move on to the next one, Ripon?
Do you want to read the edits?
I feel like it's just a lot of um,
Blah blah.
blah blah. So
Okay, yes, I want to do the next one.
oh,
Ooh.
Cherry says, "What does he expect to happen? Just to have a woman like a dog?" Because women love to be treated as objects. They sure do, Cherry. That's what we got out of
Yeah,
the last.
if even a woman as a cat would be too annoying because cats are
Cats are
little
very
demons
demanding.
on their own. Yeah, like, no, I don't want your attention. Okay, give it to me. Okay. Am I the a-hole for breaking my sister's engagement? My male 37 sister, female 29, recently got engaged to the love of her life. I'll call him Derek, male 34. They've been dating for about a year and a half, and the family, have gotten to know Derek since the beginning of this year. We all love Derek, especially my dad and I. We watch Formula One every weekend together with the rest of our friends. The engagement was announced about 3 weeks ago. We were all obviously excited. 2 weeks ago, at the last GP Grand Prix, I was talking to Derek, and at some point, reason I might be an a-hole, my mind slipped and I said something along the lines of, "It's great you found someone you love so much you would abandon having children." Sadly, my sister had to fight a battle with ovarian cancer when she was 16, 17, which resulted in the surgical removal of her ovaries and, from what I understand, part of her uterus. Now, I didn't think much about my comment, but turns out she never discussed this with him. It was like I dropped a nuclear bomb of information. He said now it made sense why she always avoided discussing about children. Well, needless to say, the engagement broke, and they now have separated. And in the eyes of my sister and mother, I'm the asshole who, oh, sorry, a-hole, who separated my sister from the love of her life.
Well, there you go. Well, so I think that's a horrible omission of information. Uh, Obviously, you should tell your partner that kind of information
Mm-hmm.
before you're
Especially
going to
when
get
you're
married.
engaged.
When you get engaged, it's. I mean, I I don't know how early you would tell a partner, but like very early, I would say is probably the best. It might come
Well,
out a bit awkward, but like
I
setting
mean,
expectations up front, I think is very ideal.
he's he the fiance said that it made sense she was avoiding discussing children, so she's just postponing talking about this until she has him like hooked up with him and then like set him in for a fact that he cannot make a decision anymore, sort of speak.
Well, she's obviously being horribly deceptive, so that it's basically
Yeah,
she's just basically outright lying. I think so.
yeah.
Um,
And then, in my opinion, you cannot say that that is the love of your life, because to the love of your life, you would not lie like that.
mm, yeah, I totally agree. Um, so how did the information break? I didn't quite get that. Oh yeah,
They
yeah,
were
that's the
talking,
lines
and
at F1.
he somehow like, I mean, I can see this happening. Two guys watching, yeah, marrying my sister. Yeah, it's really great. You're like, I don't want to have kids for the love of my life. I blah 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 blah. That kind of shit. I mean, I understand. I don't see he would do this on purpose. He probably thought that they already talked about this.
Yeah, yeah, and it sounds like that's what happened. I don't think he was deliberately trying to unravel the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. So it's not his fault that he accidentally said it. So yeah, this I don't think he's the a hole in the slightest.
And in my opinion, if I mean, it's not only the engagement that broke, they also have separated now. So if he was the love of her life, he would have stayed. He wouldn't have cared if she couldn't have kids or not.
Mm. Yeah, true.
They
Absolutely.
would have talked through this and they would have worked through this and it would have been all right.
Mm.
But if this is all ended, then maybe he wasn't the person for her.
The,
And
the
that's okay.
like the deception is like the problem. So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily. I mean, maybe he really wanted kids. Like the guy really wanted kids, and I don't think
But
it's wrong of him to not look for someone who can't have kids or the potential to have kids. It's really his decision to
yeah,
make.
but on the topic of deception, I feel like, and I do read a lot of these kind of stories on Reddit, that a lot of women are like holding out information from their future husbands until like after the marriage, because then they can't like leave anymore, so to speak. And
Which is not true, but
what? Yeah,
they
they can leave. I mean, you
they
can
could
always
absolutely
leave,
leave.
but I feel like I mean it's different in different countries. I feel like in America, apparently divorce is like really costly or something. I don't know how it works.
I honestly don't know, but yeah,
Same,
it's.
same.
Mm.
But yeah, you read a lot about these things, and it's totally unfair because also in my opinion, these people were not ready to get married if they didn't like discuss everything and whatever. Also, like a year and a half is pretty soon, in my opinion.
Perhaps, yeah.
But who am I to say? Who am I to say? I've never been married.
I don't know if a year and a half is enough, but it could be enough potentially.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want to go to the next one?
Yes.
Oh, I picked another probably similar one. uh, okay, but even though
Oh, that's
even
okay. That's
it
okay.
has a different flavor to it, so I'll talk about
Yeah.
why it's a little different. So this
Why
one
is this an
says,
edit?
I I'm not sure. I think they put the edit at the top when they should have put it at the bottom. Uh, okay,
Okay.
so he says, I don't know even I don't I kind of don't even know how to talk about men's issues without sounding like an incel. Okay, that's a bit of a jumble. Or rather, how to
Mm-hmm.
talk about men's issues in a way that I won't be accused of being an incel. Feels like people will throw that one around a little excessively. Yes, the thought that I might be one has briefly occurred to me, but no. And I can't even talk about it in a sub without breaking. Okay, sorry, that's just other things. But basically, the gist of it is, um, people feeling like they can't talk
Wait, wait,
about.
wait, wait.
Um,
Around a little excessively is the thought that I might be one has briefly occurred to me, but I mean, I find incel like a weird word.
mm,
And I can't even talk about it in this sub without breaking Rule 6. So anyone know a place where I could fairly and honestly discuss this sort of thing? I don't want a misogynistic circle jerk forum. I would just want honesty and truth and people's opinions. Um,
so well, what the point of this one to me uh, is that I think sometimes there's an environment where if we can't talk about men's issues without
mhm,
being considered like taking away from feminism or equality. So
mhm.
um, I've experienced that before, like at a previous workplace. So, for instance,
Yeah,
like a lot of people were celebrating feminism within the organization via like having women promoted through the company, and
yeah.
I was saying, well, um, I didn't think women should be promoted just because they were women.
The women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like even expressing that thought would make me seem like, okay, well, this guy's he's a misogynist or he's an incel or blah 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 whatever.
Yeah.
So, I just thought like the fact that you can't even discuss it, like you're scared to discuss it within that environment, is
Yeah.
very unsettling, you know. So that's why I
That's
brought this one up.
Yeah, but that's you've got a point there because I feel like feminism started out the right way, but it's gone to a way of like extremism.
Mm,
Because now every company or every organization is trying to like get to a certain benchmark of being all inclusive and
hmm
diversity and feminist and blah blah blah. And I see like companies have to hire like that many percentage of women and stuff like that, but in theory, I mean, that is not a right way of thinking about it. You should have like as many opportunity for men and women to compete for the job, but in the end it has to be the best person for the job, not like because you're a woman or a man.
hmm
Same thing with the promotion, like um I mean, you got a point. Sometimes these people just get promoted and aren't really fit to do the job. I've seen it in the workplace. And they're like not really good at it. And then there's this guy who's not got the job who would have been much better probably, but I don't know because we can never compare, but
hmm
men cannot say this because then you're like indeed like viewed as like yeah, how do you, I don't well,
Uh,
yeah, I guess misogynistic, but there's
hmm
enough of women who do misandry too, like saying, all men cheat, men blah blah blah. No 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 no. There's
mm,
enough of these kind of opinions too.
yeah.
Like
Um,
men can't be stay-at-home dads. Men can't be babysitters. Why
right.
is a man a nurse? A male nurse is like a laughable thing. What the hell?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And you wonder why there are so few male nurses around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if a guy is a nurse, then he's not an alpha male. He's beta. He's a simp. He's weak.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell?
Exactly.
Do you know what male nurses and female nurses have to do? Those
It's
jobs are crazy. Or
it's it,
like a male kindergarten teacher. Do you know
mhm.
what it takes to stand in a class with 20 of 4-year-olds? I mean, anyone who does that is, in my eyes, a hero.
Hmm.
I could never do it.
I agree. Like children scare me, so they might as well be like Rambo, dealing
Yeah.
with like 30 hard to control kids. Um, yeah, so like if we go back to like the workplace thing, yeah,
Hmm.
it was something that really irritated me at my previous workplace, and I felt like I couldn't really raise my voice at all. Um,
Yeah.
about it, and that's the that's the environment that's been created. If you're not supporting us, you're part of the problem. But then it kind of
Yeah.
overreaches at some points. Like it's very easy to sit back and go, okay, well, you're right. Yeah, women should be in the workplace. Yeah, like everybody agrees with that. And then eventually, sometimes it overreaches, and that's when we need to be careful.
Yeah. It's. I feel like we have come in an age where you used to have like inclusivity, and I think the extreme part of exclusivity I can't talk. Inclusivity is wokeism, and the woke mindset is like banning every sort of critical thinking or oppositional thinking of their mindset. And that is not a good thing, because
Mm,
not there's never like one black or white truth. There's always a gray in between, and it's not because they say like discounts and all that we are right and blah 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 that you shouldn't listen to sometimes the more conservative people or the people who want to stick up for men's rights,
mm,
whatever, because those things are real true. And in every opinion, there's an element of truth.
mm.
But yeah.
I, it's very territorialism because like
Yeah.
you if you believe in one thing, you subscribe to all of the beliefs of that one subgroup. Because like I think people want to. There's a lot of tribalism there. They want to be part of that. I'm the X group and I'm the Y group, and then anyone who's not in my
Yeah.
group is my enemy, and therefore we shout and we scream at each other and we call each other names, and yeah, that's the
Yeah.
world we live in today.
I see it. So yeah, and I saw your reply to CU's channel that you're glad you're a female nurse. CN is multitasking. She's replying to both our streams.
Suyen is incredible for being a nurse. She's very strong,
Yeah.
very very strong. All right, shall we go to the next one, Ripon?
Yeah, sure.
All right, this one I'll try and I'll leave it kind of like this
Ooh,
big, and then I'll push it up when you
yeah. I'll let you know. Ooh, I love this one. Am I the a-hole, 38 male, for cutting back on work to prove a point to my wife, 30 female? My wife is usually an angel of a woman, but has recently gotten into a friendship with a woman who I personally believe is a bad influence on her. Not in a patronizing way, more of a lay down with dogs get up with fleas type of situation. I never said anything about her childishness or her very radical misandry because, frankly, it doesn't affect me. Until it did. A few months ago, my wife began pressuring me to do more around the house. Before I get an instant, you're the a hole. We already split chores and childcare. Admittedly, she had a bigger cut than I because she is a stay at home mom, but I do most of the cooking, breakfast and dinners. Lunch is her responsibility for her and the boys. I take out the garbage and I do laundry. And I deep clean the bathrooms once a week. I do also help with our boys' homework and such. Sounds to me this guy does already a lot. She insists that I am not doing enough and that I should be doing more around the house. I tried having discussions with her, asking what she expected from me, namely, all chores and child rearing should be my duty, it seems, and for months it seemed to be going nowhere. She used the D word more than once when speaking on this, which felt manipulative. So the D word is divorce.
Okay,
It boiled over when.
thank you.
Yeah, it boiled over. It boiled over. It doesn't sound like she's that much of an angel, to my opinion, but okay. It boiled over when we were out with friends one night, and she began talking about how I never helped out and how I use her as a house slave. Her words, I will admit I saw red. This next part is where I may be the a hole. I didn't say anything that night, but the next day I asked my boss to be given reduced hours for the next little bit due to stress. And I took over everything in the house. I cooked breakfast, made lunch for the boys before I drove them to school, cleaned the house top to bottom. I did every dish we had twice, and so on. My wife was blindingly happy and bragged to her friends that she finally had worn me in. Bitch. Can you put it up? She didn't lift a finger for around a month. Then she began asking why we never went on dates anymore and complaining that she wanted to get her nails done as they were growing in. I explained that I had to take that out of our budget so we could continue to afford everything else. But we could absolutely have a movie night in, and I could paint her nails for her, which is actually kind of romantic in my opinion, but okay. She was unhappy with that solution, so I asked her if she would want to get a part-time job to pay for either luxuries. You would have thought I asked if she wanted to join a cult. She then asked if I could just pick up more shifts at work to cover her other expenses and used the phrase be a man, which I found more than a little insulting. I then asked her if she would be willing to go back to splitting the chores and such, which is when she began to catch on that the two were related. She yelled at me that I was being a manipulative asshole for doing this and even claimed it was financial a word. What? She yelled at me that I was being a manipulative a-hole for doing this and even claimed it was financial a word. Oh, financial manipulation? I don't know.
I'm not. I don't understand.
I stood strong for a while, but now I am questioning my methods because even I feel that I did what I did was a bit underhanded. So am I the a-hole? I don't think
Nope.
so.
Nope. CN says he's a
What is it
certified husband.
exactly?
CN's always been looking
Yeah,
for husbands, and this guy seems like he's it.
this guy is a dream. I mean, he works, he does everything. I mean, he's basically a single father.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh,
She's just living the dream life, not going to work, getting her nails done. Hey, take me out on a date, bitch.
and
Okay,
progressively,
look.
she's doing less and less of like looking after kids and the housework too, by the sounds of it. So,
But and I mean, the fact that she is threatening with divorce and all this kind of stuff, and then I mean, what? I mean, if this was other way round, everyone would be screaming divorce.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'd say divorce too, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't matter like who's the man and who's the woman. But
You
it's
know what I
interesting that
found?
the society has that different expectation.
Yeah. But also, you know what I found astonishing is when I read this and I read the comments below, like a lot of people were like, you're not the a-hole, but also a lot of people were like, yeah, they were questioning his honesty and like, yeah, but we should hear her part of the story. What is he doing to her? Blah, 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 blah. Which
Mm,
is, whenever a woman puts this in, you never hear anyone saying it, but what is his side of the story? So they're
yeah.
not measuring with the same things.
I think that's also another problem. Like we don't when we see it's a bias that I think most humans innately have. We see a woman and
Mm-hmm.
we think that she's trustworthy and honest and not out to lie or manipulate, and yet a guy is probably we see a guy by the same token and he's more likely to lie and manipulate and get his own way when we
Yeah.
shouldn't have these biases. Um,
No, because I mean, a lot of women are very good at manipulating,
hmm.
like very good.
Hmm.
I've had a couple of these friends, and I mean, like I had a friend. She's not a friend anymore, by the way. She was a bad friend. She was dating this guy. She wasn't dating him for a year yet, and she was like, she wanted everything she wanted, and if she didn't get what she wanted, she'd get angry, she'd get difficult, she just basically make your life miserable until she got you her way. So this guy was doing everything for her. He bought a house, was making it up, blah 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 blah. She was, first of all, like a bit pissed off because she didn't get a part of the house just like that, but whatever, she let that go. Then they were going to Paris, and she wanted to get engaged under the Eiffel Tower, and was like, if he doesn't ask me to marry him, I'm gonna break up. Then eventually they went, and after she got back, she's like, I'm engaged. So he did that. So he kind of knew what she wanted, though, but she dropped all these little hints. Then she said to me like she wanted like a baby and she wanted all that within a year, but at the same time she was saying like, if he is not gonna do that for me, he is not gonna do that for me, this was before they were married even, she was gonna divorce him.
Mm,
She was already talking about divorcing him before they were even married.
mm.
So they married. 3 months later she was pregnant. Then after like a year of marriage, she divorced him
I
because
think
she had an
it's
affair with someone else.
your story
Bitch.
and this person in the Reddit post. It's they're kind of similar in the sense that the lady has a sense of entitlement of what the guy
Yeah,
needs to provide to her, and it's not a partnership. It's just this guy needs to give me
exactly.
X Y Z, and if he doesn't, I'm gonna get out of here and divorce or
And be
whatever.
angry and yell and threaten and manipulate, those
Mm,
kind of things. Like, it's so not okay to do that.
mm.
Do you know what an Eiffel Tower is, though, for two guys with one girl? Uh, no. This is
I
going to
think
be
that's a
something weird, isn't
it
it?
sounds like a dirty joke setup to me.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to the next one, Rippin?
Yeah, I think we can all agree that this guy is a good guy and has a bad wife. We're waving the red flags. She's a walking red flag.
um, okay, so this one's a little bit unusual, Rippin. It's just a response
That's
to
fine.
a thread, and
Yeah.
I think I should get the question. I'll read the question as it was stated. Sorry, I gotta look for this. I should have had this open before. Okay, so the question was, um, what are some men's issues in the UK that need talking about? Um, so one of the responses was mental health. Despite the adverts and such, um, there's still a stigma, and you still get sideways glance or mocked for talking about it. The push for going about it is completely backwards. All of the focus is trying to cajole men into opening up, when it should be changing society's reaction to men opening up. The reason we don't do it is because we're immediately mocked and belittled. Trying to nudge someone into inviting that on themselves will only make the problems worse. Basically, every straight guy I know seems to have a story about being a woman who pestered him to open up and be vulnerable, and almost immediately lost all traction towards him and left as soon as he did so. I also think that society needs to stop treating men like defective women and recognize that what works for one sex might not necessarily work for another. The overwhelming majority of guys I've brought up agree that talk therapy is basically useless for them. It's trying to cram men into women's solution because it's more convenient, and nobody really wants to be asked developing solutions that work for men specifically. Every Ask Reddit thread you see about the differences between men and women, or misunderstandings between men and women, will have, as one of its top answers, the idea that men offer solutions to women when they're having a problem, and this is exactly the wrong thing to do because women like to talk and process their feelings first. Well, it works the same the other way. Droning on about feelings to a man is almost exactly the wrong thing to do. You should be offering him solutions. a kind of life coach would do a struggling man a lot more good than a therapist. Well, there you go. So
That's a lot.
yeah, that is a lot of different points. I agree with some of them, but not necessarily all of them. Um, so I think one of the main ones is this one saying guys don't necessarily should open up because there is men and women aren't the same, and trying to say that they're the same is uh, like short sighted. No, like like blind. Like we're blind to the
That's
to the to the differences between men and women. I guess is what they're saying.
I'm just gonna quickly reread that again because I sometimes have difficulty following when someone reads something. Yeah. Uh-huh. I have heard that before that men say that talk therapy is basically useless for them.
Yeah. So I would say that it's true that on the average, men and women aren't the same, and this goes for physically and mentally as well. So the idea
Yeah, but
of tailoring um, therapy for
see,
or whatever for men would
I
kind of does make
think
sense.
yeah, you know where I think where the problem lies? It's not in the fact that I mean that talk therapy is a woman thing. I think the fact is that a lot of men are thought that they should not talk about their feelings, and when they have to do that in therapy, it's a bigger um how do you say that? Like a bigger step for them to do that than for a woman because women we are allowed to be emotional and we are allowed to talk about how we feel and stuff like that. So when we have to go to therapy and talk about it, it kind of comes natural to most of women. Some women are also not like that. Some men are like that as well. But a lot of men have thought like, no, don't talk about your feelings. Don't cry. Keep that inside yourself. So when they are like, you have to go to therapy, and therapy's like, talk about it, they cannot do it like that because they taught that not to do so. It's not. I don't think that's the difference between men and women. It's just the way that society has taught men how to deal with that is different because a life coach is something completely different than a therapist, and in
Mm.
that way the real problem would still not get like tackled.
It's a very like why don't you DIY your mental health kind of a thing, and then
Hmm.
and not everybody's good at DIY, so you,
I
like not
do
everyone can build their house, so it could be a complete disaster.
I do think that therapy would be good, but you need a good therapist, and a good therapist knows that no person is the same. So, and it's the same with women. What works with one woman will not work with the other woman. And when these men come to therapy, you have to like create a situation and work towards that part, not immediately like go in and talk about it. Like sometimes it requires like a month or 2 months of talking like who are you, what do you like to do, who are your friends, like getting to know each other so the person is more comfortable, um and not like immediately tackle those supposed problems because yeah, it doesn't work like that with everyone. I go to therapy. I didn't start talking about all my issues. I've been going to therapy since 2018, and I recently confessed something that she was like, "How have you never told me this before? This is a serious problem." And I'm like, "Yeah, I just didn't."
Well, hello, Masquerader. Welcome in.
Hello,
Um,
Mask.
So I think it's the job of the therapist to be able to get the person to open up. So
Yeah,
maybe it's like those people not experiencing a therapist who can do their
they
thing,
just
right?
haven't found a good
Yeah.
therapist. I'm quickly gonna get some water because my throat is dry.
Okay. Hope you've been doing well, Masquerader. We're talking about some Reddit stories. Um, all of these themes are for men's mental health because it's Men's Mental Health Month. It's the last day of that, the 30th of June. Um, all right, so
That does not mean that it is not important the other months of the year.
that's true. All right. It looks like some of the stories I was supposed to get didn't save properly, so I need to hide the screen for one moment.
That's okay.
Okay, we made it back. All right, so let's.
Silence is gone. Although I do think it's an important moment.
Silence is important. Um, so we're up to number
Oh, I see a
8.
little my little thingy on the bottom.
Oops, there we go. I think we haven't done this one, right? This
No,
one
we
was
haven't
yours,
done
right?
this one.
Yeah,
I feel like we're going through them pretty fast.
that's okay. Um, we can have a shorter stream.
We can what?
We can have a shorter stream than normal. That's all right.
Sure. Am I the a-hole for making my fiance cut down on her guest list? M- My fiance, 30 female, and I, 29 male, have been planning our wedding for over a year now. Fiance has a huge family, siblings, tons of cousins, aunts and uncles, second cousins, family overseas, etc. I have a much smaller family. Fiance said from the jump that she wanted us to be financially secure to get married, as it's important to her to include her entire family in the wedding. We're doing pretty well financially, but I still think it's absurd to include so many guests, some of who aren't even blood relatives, just family friends. She agreed to exclude her overseas family, but she claims everyone else is too near and dear to exclude. I tried to compromise and say just her aunts, uncles, and first cousins, but she claims her second cousins are considered just as immediate as the others and she grew up with them too. As of now, her guest list alone is over 60 people, not including her or friends. I told her to get her list down to 25 and she was upset, saying she has even more than 25 first cousins and that few guests is impossible for her. She said we can afford it, and she brought up how I agreed when we got engaged to have a larger wedding. I said that's true, but I didn't know she was so serious about it, and I thought she'd be open to compromise as we continued planning. It just doesn't make sense to me to spend so much money on a huge wedding, especially since I barely know most of those people. She says she grew up with them, so it's important, but I just don't get why we shouldn't put that money towards something better like the honeymoon. She's been sulking and talking to her sisters, but I think I'm being fair. Am I the a-hole?
I think this
Okay,
is
this
kind of
is
balanced. So my thoughts on
yes.
this is that um, it's not important to OP that they have a big wedding. So he would share my point of view. I wouldn't like a big party with a lot of people. I would want a small one
Hmm.
because I don't like a lot of people anyway. So I would want a small wedding, and saving money always makes sense.
I don't like a lot of people.
Exactly right.
Hmm.
Um, but obviously. it's a priority and important for her to have a big wedding, and she wants all of these
Yeah,
people to celebrate her big day. So the unfortunate thing is they were on the same. They thought they were on the same page before, but it wasn't communicated clearly enough what the scale was.
yeah,
So that's I don't think either of them were are really in the wrong, but unfortunately,
yeah.
that's a problem. So
The the reason why I wanted to bring this one up, because I don't think anyone here is exactly the asshole, the a-hole, sorry. Um, they are gonna have to like compromise somewhere.
mm,
There's a middle ground. In the comments, he was very much yes, the a-hole, because the majority of usually women in the comments were like, yeah, weddings are like 250, 300 people. To me, honestly, if I hear
oh,
250, 300 people, I get like a heart attack. The hell?
I thought
No!
you said 300,000. I'm like, whoa.
Oh my god, no!
It's like
Like,
a
no,
that's like you can buy a house for that.
see you. See you, seriously. 200 people is a lot.
You know,
Um,
I thought 200 people
but
was the standard wedding actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that is.
Hmm.
But that is too much for me. I
It's too
would
much
like,
for me too.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, But the reason why I took this one out is because with a lot of these wedding things and stuff, it's always about what the bride wants. So she wants the dress, she wants this cake, this family, this kind of color theme, blah 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 blah. And often there's like the guys, yeah, they don't care, they're it's all good and stuff, but when you really talk to them, it's like, yeah, they also have like interest in what the dress would be like, or maybe like
Hmm.
what the drinks would be like, or what they would eat, or stuff like that. Maybe they
Hmm.
want a small wedding, or maybe it's like never taken into consideration. It's
Hmm.
like, bam, wedding, all out, big
Bridezilla.
party, big dress. It's my wedding. It's my wedding. No, no. The moment you get engaged, it's no me, 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 me. It's we.
Hmm. Yeah, that's an
And
interesting thought. Yeah. It's
like
it's very true.
I always say I want to be married. I would love to be married, but no, I don't want to be married for the wedding.
Hmm.
That gives me stress. If no, but I would like to have a marriage. I would like have that partnership and that little thing.
Hmm.
But, you know,
I mean, I agree with your point of view. I feel like you want to build towards your marriage rather than your wedding. Like your wedding
yeah.
is just
If
like a it's going to be one day in your life, and
my
you'll
ideal,
you'll have memories of that, and that's great. Maybe that's important to some people. It's not important to me,
yeah.
but it's important to this lady in the
Uh,
post.
like it's like MC says, they say happy wife, happy life, but it's actually happy spouse, happy house.
Very nice, very nice, Rippin.
Which is true because the spouse is two people.
Mm,
Yeah, no, my ideal wedding is probably like just a barbecue in my garden or something.
mm. What's the biggest wedding you've been to?
The
Mm,
biggest? The biggest one is from my mom's boss. This is insane because this is was my mom's employer, and she invited my mom and me and my brother and my then boy, because I was in high school. Even my boyfriend was allowed there. We were all there. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? It was the biggest, elaborate, most crazy thing, and I was like really like, oh, maybe this is like wow, but then on the other hand I was like, no, because all these people are watching me. So, no, um that was how many people would have been there. I think it was like 500 or something. It was
500?
insane.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And yeah, it was nuts. And the best wedding I went to was from my uncle. My uncle lived in Thailand for a long while, and he met someone there, and then they moved to Belgium for a short period of time. They got married here. They just went to City Hall, and then they had like this huge barn, not like pretty barn, but like haystack barn, like
Mm-hmm.
all hay and stuff. And they arranged the hay and stuff, and we had a big barbecue, and it was the best thing ever. And then I said, if I ever get married, I want to marry like this. I want to have a big barbecue and just have fun and drinks and not too many people. Because I think we were, what was it, like 50 people in total? That would have been much.
That
Something
I
like
think even
that.
50 is a lot for
50
me.
tops.
I
Yeah.
probably have social anxiety because I think if I'm in a room of 50 people, I would get uncomfortable.
It was outside, so it's okay. And it was with kids and stuff because it was like they made like play slides things with bags, and it was it was really cool. And that was also the time where I embarrassed myself by walking out of the bathroom with toilet paper hanging out of my skirt.
Very nice.
See, I'm not the one to have a public wedding. I will embarrass myself.
So
This is just me.
Masquerader says Jeppo isn't around, so we don't have to be family friendly. I would still prefer to be family friendly. Masquerader. He says, "See you once marriage if true Lady Bear exists." And like, yeah, if true Lady Bear exists, I would get married. Um,
Yeah, Kitty wants marriage too, if true Kitty man exists.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's a very good point you raised. Like, why is the preferences of the man in the wedding completely ignored? That's I don't have a good answer for
Yeah,
that. That's a
yeah.
very good
I
question.
never see, I never see anything like, or rarely see anything like that. But you have also that program. What is it called? Say yes to the dress.
Hmm.
And
I've
then
not heard of it until this
sometimes,
point.
yeah, well, it's like an entire thing on TV, and then these women come with their entire entourage to like pick away an interest, and everyone's got an opinion. And sometimes they take the groom with them. First of all, everyone is like, you cannot be here, this is bad luck, go away. And then when he has an opinion, all the other women like, you don't get to have an opinion, you have no fashion sense, you mediocre male. I'm like, jeez, poor guy doesn't even get to say a thing.
Well,
It's insane.
I get the feeling like when it's a wedding, the bride is the one calling all the shots, and the guy
Yeah,
is he's basically an accessory. He's there to stand,
yeah,
wear a suit and look pretty, and it's
yeah.
a responsibility rather
Yeah,
than a celebration for him.
yeah,
Or
and often it's like, yeah, I put so much work into the wedding, blah 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 blah. That is not important, girl. It's what effort you put into the marriage.
I totally agree.
But then they're like, ah, we nailed it. All worries out of the window.
Oh
Man is
yeah,
gonna take care of me.
yeah. She coasts up to the wedding, and then after the wedding, it's like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, definitely in the previous story with the man
Yeah,
working and
exactly.
doing all the household stuff.
Yeah, like she reeled the guy in onto the boat. He's trapped on the boat now, and he can't, like, after the wedding, like he can't. He's the
Hmm.
fish that can't get out of the boat now.
I feel like this is sidetracking because not all women are like this, but all the good women take the bad husbands, and all the good husbands take all the bad women. Maybe they should just ditch those extremes and let them fend out for themselves and like come together and have like the perfect harmonious life together. A true kitty ginger man.
So Masquerader says he doesn't get what the problem is in the story. So I think she wants to invite a lot of people to the wedding. Masquerader. It sounds like hundreds. She wants hundreds of people at the wedding, and I think they probably can't really afford that, or at least it will be very expensive for them. So that's what the problem is.
If
Uh,
I were the girl, I would choose the honeymoon too, though.
you know what? Like I would rather spend more on the honeymoon than the wedding,
Me too. Me
because
too.
like
Like, make the
a
most
lot of the people
amazing trip.
exactly like that would be like something that I mean the guy and the girl and the bride and the groom would both really appreciate. Like the wedding is something I feel
Hmm.
like in most cases the bride is what they care about, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mama says marriage. It's a trap. Mama's gone through some. She knows all about this. Shall we go to the next one, Ripon?
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is
Ooh.
um, this one was a response to that same question thread that I was telling you about last time. So it was
Yeah.
Ask Men of Ask UK. What are some issues in the UK that need talking about? So there are a few
Yeah.
here. Um,
We can go over one and
we actually talked about one of these points that I was um, that I want to highlight before. So
which one?
I'll just read some of these. So a general perception
Maybe
that
we
sorry, go on.
maybe we can read each topic and go over it separately.
Okay, that sounds good. Um, so I'll read the first one. A general perception that men are never the victims, but are only ever the perpetrators of domestic abuse and sex offenses.
Ooh. I found that a good one.
So
I
I
found it
think
a very good one.
we actually talked about this one before.
Yeah.
You may not remember, but
I remember.
you do remember, yeah. So I feel like it's definitely true. I would say if you look at statistics that men are prime like they're
Oh
more
no no no
much
no!
more likely
You're about the. Yeah yeah. Okay, go on. Sorry.
they're much more likely to be perpetrators of offenses, but they're not going to be the only ones.
Yeah, that was in our Discord thing. That was not on stream where we talked about it. It was about transgender situation. That was when we had the topic. What I was saying, I've talked about this on my streams that women can assault men as well, physically and sexually, and oftentimes that is like waved away or put under the rug. I've always been the girl who had more guy friends than female friends, and they talk to me about certain situations, and when I look back at it, and maybe sometimes I didn't go into to it deep enough, but they told me stories, and when I look back at it, those things are so not okay. Like women who are at mature adult age seeking out young teenage boys for sexual activity is not okay. I don't know how you would feel about it, but I don't feel like a 20-year-old woman should have sex with a 15-year-old boy.
I think whatever society applies rules for one gender should apply for the other. So
Exactly.
that's
But that is like, because you see, they don't always show this in the news, but occasionally you will see like this female teacher who was like luring her male students, and it's also always laughed off like he was lucky he got to deal like an older woman, but you don't really know how he truly feels it. I mean, you don't even give this guy the chance to feel bad about it. You should be happy about it because you did it with an older woman. Like, what the hell?
I think that's terrible. It's a
It is
horrible
terrible.
environment that we've created. Because if you change the genders around, that person's a sex
As a
predator,
predator.
and if
Yeah.
you change the genders around, oh wow, lucky, good for him. It's a terrible attitude to have.
And I also have like a situation, and I was so shocked because I sort of dated a guy when I was like around 18, 19 years old, for a very short time, but we very quickly were like, this is maybe not like, it's not working for a relationship. Let's just be
Hmm.
friends. But we always stuck around and like really got along very well. And then he suddenly started like, um he didn't really start dating this girl. Their relationship started as like a friends with benefits kind of thing, but she wanted more, and she kind of like pushed it out of him, so he started dating her. But whenever they were out, she was like very controlling, and like if he watched another way, or like if he talked too much to me, she would get angry. And we were at a party, we're all there, and I talked to him, and he was like, if you would want to date me again, I'd leave her immediately. I'm truly not happy. And I'm like, okay, I don't really want to date you, but if you're not happy, you shouldn't be in this relationship. And I don't know if she caught ear of that, or however you need to call it, or she noticed something, because he was like, well, he was a bit drunk and stuff. But we were driving home. My friend was driving home. I was sitting next to her at the front, and they were sitting at the back. He was a bit drunk, and she was like really pissed off, and I'm like, something is off. And at some point she snapped and was like so angry with him. She banged his head like multiple times against the window, because he was apparently talking to some girl, and she was like super suspicious. And we were both like, what the hell is happening? We put the cars out aside. They were already home. She dragged him out of the car and like kicked him on the floor, and I was like, what the fuck was this? So we kind of went out, and we're like, because we were friends with this guy for longer, me and my bestie, than her, and we're like, chill, chill. Like, I mean, these things happen.
Mm.
That was not okay. Even whatever might be at the root cause, even if he cheated, that is not okay to do that. Damn, I will never forget the aggression that came out of that woman. I was so shocked. But yeah,
Was there a
these things
age
happen.
difference? As sorry, I missed that bit. If you said it was there like a big age difference thing
No,
with them as well?
no, he was my age. His birthday is only a couple days separate from mine. And she's like 2 or 3 years younger than him.
Oh right, okay. So it's just so you're talking about like the
The
controlling
abuse part.
manipulation kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, I see.
yeah, cause like he was just, we were all in the same like friend group, and then there was this other girl, a very young, pretty girl, very like upbeat, happy. All women were immediately jealous of her. Like, she was the bad one. She was gonna take your guy away, blah 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 blah. Well, she never really did anything. And then at some point, they all were like, she's gonna steal this. She was again thinking that she was gonna steal her boyfriend, and then they decided to like punish him and then punish her as well. So he got like the bad thing again, and then they all went and threw their drinks over her, and I was like, damn, this is getting so out of hand. And she never came back to the to center again. Well, I thought it was really sad. But then they eventually like lived together and had a kid, and then he had like, because he did struggle with depression, and then he had like a suicide attempt, and he was taken into a psychiatric ward. um so that was really really sad, because yeah, I don't think he's happy, but
Hmm.
I'm not in the right place to tell that. It's a difficult situation. I kind of like withdraw, because the more I hung out with this guy, and the more I tried to be there for him because he was my friend, the more he got into trouble in his relationship. So I was like, maybe I should just distance myself. But he also changed, like, because he was like this fun. He had depression, but he was like still fun and open and stuff. Now he's just like really, really negative and very red pill, I guess. So yeah, it's just really sad to see how things turn out. But yeah, it's what it is.
So
I'm here sharing all my personal stories.
it's okay. This what that's what all of this is about. It's about adding our personal experiences uh, to respond to these thoughts and ideas. Um,
Yeah.
just want to say hello to Q10. Welcome in. We're just talking through some Reddit stories today, and it's Men's Mental Health Month, the last day of it. So all of the stories have men's mental health themed to it. Masquerader says, "Just made a country. You just went to a country wedding with 1,000 people and made a special thing in the family." I've been to
Ooh.
weddings with 1,000 people before. That's yeah. In some
Oh my
countries,
God,
it's kind of
you.
normal. Yeah, I found it
How
very
did you
uncomfortable.
survive?
I did a lot of drinking. That's how I survived. And I'm not really a drinker at all, so I got drunk extremely
Drunk
quickly,
bear.
very very quickly,
Oh,
tapping into some of that
MC
vodka.
MC says actually the happiest people want to kill themselves.
Really? Hmm.
There's an element of truth there. I could also again go into a story, but I'm not gonna.
All right. So Masquerader has asked me to do a Breaking Bad news. So do you mind if we take
Oh,
a,
okay.
a bit of a break and
No, break would be welcome.
yeah, it'll just be a short one.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see if I remember how to work this. Uh, I'll set this up. All right, we're getting some Breaking Bad news.
Bear news that barely matters. This is Breaking Bear News.
This is See the Bear with Breaking Bad news. Our top story for tonight. See the Bear is about to announce his wedding to the very famous internet bear, Betulia, the streaming bear princess. he is recently reached 1 million followers on Twitch, and he is announcing a special giveaway to come to his wedding. If you donate 1,000 bits, you'll get a raffle ticket to join his wedding. This will be his incredible money-making scheme to pay for the wedding itself. Included at the wedding festivities will be water slides, spas, honey cakes, and disco dancing. See the Bear hopes you'll be able to join in this fundraiser and potentially join him for his special day and his wedding to enjoy the rest of his life. To Betulia the Bear, the most famous female bear streamer. So there we go.
Ew.
Winnie the Pooh just followed. Winnie the Pooh ain't got nothing on me, Masquerader. I couldn't think of a name that had that was female sounding with bear in it. Maybe I should have said Brenda, Bearenda,
Berda?
Bretta,
Bernadette.
Bernadette. Yeah, that's what I should have done.
Bernadette. Bernadette. Not gonna lie, I never want to hear Bertulia again, or that might be the last time y'all see me. Oh, MC. Brown Denda.
Brown Ender.
Brown Denda.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Um.
Whew.
All right. So, yikes. I think people are talking about that wasn't my best Breaking Bad news. I actually haven't done one in like 6 months, I think. So thanks, Masquerader, for
That's
redeeming that
fine
one.
too. Not everything can be perfect, and does not need to be.
All right. So do you want to let's go to the next one. So it says
Yes.
men are severely underrepresented in a number of professions. Do you think that's an issue?
It depends on what professions, I think. Because
Because
this is always this is always a statement for women, but they compare it to like male professions, I think, like, or what they see as typical male professions. But I do think we can agree that this is the same in supposedly female professions. Like I said, nursing, kindergarten teaching, hairdressers, stores like sales ladies. I mean, there's a like how many like all the typical female professions are probably like where men are severely underrepresented. That does not mean that they would not like to do that. Um,
here's where
Sewing.
I think we might have a difference of opinion, perhaps, but I'm not sure. But I
Mm-hmm,
think it's not a problem if there's a difference between men and women gravitating to different kinds of jobs. Um,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Men and women have a different psychology, and I think it's
Yeah,
okay if men prefer engineering and you know you know doing math or whatever men prefer to do, and women prefer to do like things involving children and nursing, etc. I think that's perfectly fine, and we shouldn't enforce a 50-50 split on all professions. I don't think it even makes
I agree
sense.
with that. I agree with that, and I also don't think that because everyone is always like, yeah, women can do the men's jobs too. Well, yeah, men can do the women's jobs too, but most of the time, I mean, I am not good at technical stuff, and you will not see me like crawl into like a machine and fix it. I mean, I don't. First, I don't have an interest in it. Second, I wouldn't even know how to do it. Third, I do not have the physical strength to carry all the stuff that you need to do that.
Mm,
I am good in the nurturing thing and the talking and the blah blah blah, all the typical females things, and that does not make me like not a feminist or not good enough. That I mean, you can pull this out in the family dynamics as well. I mean, both parts are just as important.
I think the
We need
important thing
people.
is that you're okay to be the way you are, but also not every woman
Mhm.
is going to be like that same type. Some women would be
Exactly.
interested in you know lifting things or like heavy things or and
Hmm.
doing you know things that you wouldn't be interested
And
in necessarily. And we should give them the
yeah, and some
opportunity
men,
and environment that supports that
yeah, and some men want to like be a hairdresser
and
and
nurture and all
sew
the things
clothes, and
and
yeah,
yeah all the things
and
you're
that is
talking about.
fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Sounds
think
good.
we do agree on this.
All right.
Why
So,
did you think we wouldn't? Why did you think we wouldn't agree on
no,
this?
I just thought we potentially might not agree because the way you were
Ah,
leading into the response seemed a little different to what I was
ah,
thinking.
okay.
But it turns out we do agree. Okay. So do you want to? So we're up to men are far more
Men
likely to be
are.
victims of violent crime. I guess that's just true, isn't it?
Oof. Um, I don't know. What is a violent crime?
I think probably getting stabbed, etc., or hurt, sent to the hospital. I don't know if there's much to respond to this myself, but
I don't think that there's a far more likelihood to that because
you don't think
if you
so?
look at all the no, because if you look at all the serial killers, it's usually women they kill.
No, no,
But
but I think like
there's
serial killers probably target men and women, maybe women more. I don't know the stats, but there's definitely a lot more gang violence and stuff, which is predominantly going
there's
to be guys.
yeah, that's true. But I don't know if it's I don't know the numbers for that. I don't.
Let like I don't think
I
either
do.
of us
I
have the
would not.
numbers, but I would
Yeah, I,
I would take that at face value. I would believe that stat to be true.
I don't. I would not like to make that as a factual statement based on not knowing all the information. Like
Mhm.
where, what country, what type of crime are we talking about? Because if you're talking about gun violence and gang violence, yes, definitely yes. Um, if you're talking about robbery and murder, I don't
It
know.
could be
I mean,
both.
women are weak. Yeah, could be both. Like robbery, maybe both. Murder, maybe both. I don't. I have no idea. Um,
I think we could maybe move on from this because I think I agree with
yeah,
you that we don't have the stats anyway. So, but I think from my intuition I would agree with it. But
but this guy was from the UK, right?
yeah, that's true. So it might be UK
Yeah,
centric.
it might be UK centric because if I recall seeing UK news and stuff like that, whenever there's something in the news, it's usually a male victim. So maybe for the UK this counts.
Mm, that's fair enough.
UK has a lot of male victims.
Mm. Mama says it might have to do with stereotypical aggression in men, where they say, "Come at me, bruh."
Nah, because um did you hear about the stabbing of the student in the UK and the girl tried to save him, but then eventually she got stabbed as well?
No,
And
I
then
haven't.
there was this crazy lunatic guy who attacked two students. Well, actually, he there was a boy and a girl student walking home, and this guy attacked the boy student, stabbing him like multiple times. The girl tried to fend him off to save her friend, and then she got stabbed as well. They both died. Then the guy with the knife went further along, dragged a 60-year-old male out of his van, stabbed that guy, then went along and attacked another man. Those are three men.
Mhm.
So, kind of, yeah. And then a couple of years ago, there was also this crazy man who, like, military style, attacked a man in broad daylight in the UK and slit his throat. That was also a guy. So yeah,
Uh,
could be right.
could be right. So let's go to the next one. So men are
Yes.
severely.
Sorry.
No, no. It's, I just think we don't have the stats. So if we don't have the stats, we
Yeah.
can kind of just conjecture all day, but we don't really know anything
Mhm.
really. Men are severely overrepresented in dangerous jobs, and I think this one's similar to the other one, where men are
I would
probably
100% agree on this. I
men
would
probably
100%. Yeah.
like they're going to be the ones looking for those jobs as well. I think just like the other thing,
Yeah.
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 So I
Not only looking, but also being hired for those jobs.
yeah, and maybe they're like jobs that require like physicality, where like the average woman is not going to be able
Mm-hmm.
to do the job. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't necessarily see it as a problem, but we do need to look after the men in those jobs because they're dangerous jobs.
Um, well, the fact is that they are sort of like risking their life a bit more.
Hmm.
Often like it's not something you immediately think of, but not always these jobs are also like paid well. Because like what you would not think about as a dangerous job, but men who clean the sewers,
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that actually.
that that is very dangerous because of the toxic gases that comes out.
Mm.
But I've never seen a woman do that job. It's also fucking nasty, but
Mm.
sorry for my language. Um, but that is a dangerous job, and I don't think it's paid that very well. Or like the guys have to climb like the power towers to fix like the electrical lights on top of that thing. That is crazy.
Okay,
So yeah,
so
I definitely
I
say yes on this one.
I think it's a similar sort of thing as the other one. So
Yeah.
so it says so the next one says men are far more likely to receive custodial sentences than men for the same offense, and are more likely to receive harsher sentences.
What? Men are far more likely to receive custodial sentences than women for the same. They're more likely to receive. What is a custodial sentence?
I'm not sure, but I think the general sentiment is if a man and a woman commit the same crime under the same circumstances, the man is going to get like a harsher sentence than the woman. And I have seen stats for that, and it's pretty much universally true for at least for America.
Is that true?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
It's I think they said it's like depending on the crime, it's somewhere between like 25% to like 50% more. So like if you were going to serve, 5 years.
In Belgium, that's not the case.
Okay, all right.
It doesn't matter what gender you are. It's the crime that gets punished.
Okay, all right. In America, I think
yeah.
the judge gets to make some sort of determination within a range. So
Mhm.
they'll look up. Okay, so here's a table, and your crime fits like line 20 conditions of this crime, and I have arranged to sentence you based on my own personal leeway as a judge.
Yeah.
So the judge will. They have their own biases, and they will usually give the woman like a lesser sentence within that range than a man. So they'll usually be
Yeah.
much harsher for the man. So that's been analyzed before. So there you go.
Okay.
Do you want to go to the next one?
Yes.
The most common cause of death in men is suicide until they get old enough for cancer to overtake suicide. Yeah.
I know that scientifically that is not true, but it is probably the second biggest cause.
I've known a lot of men who have experienced suicide within their family or friends and that sort of thing. It's very sad.
Yeah, it is sad, but it is higher. The prevalency is higher within men than within women. So more men commit suicide than women commit suicide. That is a fact. That is true. I've seen the statistics on that.
I've seen it as well. Yeah.
And I think that comes back to the problem that they don't have a place where they can talk about things. I mean, if you constantly have to like hold it within and don't have anyone to share these things with or feel comfortable about talking about it, then I mean, yeah, this is gonna wear you down.
Okay, so the next one is men who raise awareness of men's issues are dismissed as wimps or misogynists. That I think we talked about that before. Actually, that's similar to my experience in the workplace.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that is true.
Okay, so I think the main one I wanted to look at was the general perception that men can't be sexually harassed and men can't be raped by women, which we talked about before. But I guess the worst thing about that is, as a guy, there's the underlying feeling that people view us as potential predators. Like that's like, women are just like wary in general, and like they're always on guard. And they're probably, I mean, I guess they're right in doing so in the sense that you should always be safe. But if you go into every interaction and potential person that you meet with that mindset, it's just very. I just feel like it creates a bad environment.
It really bothers me because at this instance, I know 5 different male friends, 5 different guys that have been either sexually harassed or that other thing by a woman.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think the prevalence is. I think it is much higher than we think it is, and I really don't think that's okay. I really don't. I mean, I don't think men are predators compared to women.
Right.
I don't think
Everyone's a predator.
I don't
That's
like yeah I don't yeah I don't like that statement because I know these stories and these guys keep it to themselves because they feel like
right, right,
yeah
exactly.
whatever I mean no one's gonna care I mean it's gonna be like yeah sure whatever sucks for you but suck it up and
Yeah, exactly.
that is so
Exactly.
not okay like whenever I hear it I feel really I mean I feel really sad for these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like yeah. I hope within myself that my own son will never have to experience a situation like this
Right.
because it's not only like I mean I don't it's not only like underage males it's also like I know a guy who was like 29 who had a situation that was like not okay. So I just hope he never has to go through this and I'm trying to teach him like um it's not okay when a girl says no, you don't have to do that, but when you don't want to do something, it's okay for you to say no and when someone does something to you, it's okay to speak up about it,
Right.
no matter
Exactly.
who it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be gender blind in both
Yeah.
ways. And I feel
Hmm.
like like it's not that's not happening in society today.
No.
Um
No. Like the Me Too kind of thing,
mm,
that involves everyone.
okay. Yeah. Well I haven't followed movements a lot myself, so um
I don't do that a lot either, but there's been a case here in Belgium and it was really, really sad. And yeah, I do
uh
not agree with how it was taken on, but okay.
so Garish Lee, hello, welcome in. We're doing pretty well. I think we're probably going to do one more story for the stream. We're currently discussing men's mental health issues because it's
Mhm.
Men's Mental Health Month, last day today, and men's mental health, as we've talked about, doesn't get a whole lot of attention, and a lot of guys are can suffer out there and in silence. So I think it's been good to talk about. I'm sure all the everyone out there, you know someone, a guy that you care about, like whether it be your partner or your son or someone in your family. Um, yeah, it's definitely worth highlighting because it's I feel like it gets swept under the rug quite a lot. Um,
Uh, Someone in my chat says I don't know about that Belgian case. I think you know it's about Bart de Pauw.
what the
Um,
bull?
Bart de Pauw.
I just tried my
Um,
Belgium just then and I failed spectacularly. So sorry.
it's okay. Um, yeah.
All right, so shall we go to the last one, Ripin?
Hmm.
All right, so this one's a bit long, so I'll have to scroll like I did before.
Okay.
It's this one, isn't it?
I always pick the long stories. Okay.
Go for it.
I love I love my wife, but I'm starting to regret marrying her. I love my wife, but there's a lot of things that I do not like about her. So my wife and I got married roughly 2 years ago. We are very devoted to each other and have been since we started dating 6 years ago. However, just as the title suggests, there are a lot of things that really bother me. Recently, we took a dancing class for ragtime dancing at an old museum. It was a really cool place to do it around all the old stuff in the museum. I've never been much of a dancer, but my wife really wanted to go, so I figured why not try it. Just for context, my wife danced. What was that? Oh, thanks, MC, for the raid. Just for context, my wife danced from age 6 until she was 21, so she is a very good dancer. It was a large class with roughly 50 people, so the instructors were doing their best to observe and direct as needed. Now, never having done this before, I was doing my best to learn the basic steps with my wife. However, I immediately knew how the night was gonna go when she began cursing the instructors for repeating steps and was also becoming frustrated at my attempts to learn the simple movements. I do my best to calm her as one. The instructors are working with a lot of people, and I understand that they are doing their best. And two, I'm doing my best to learn the basics. She kept saying that she wants me to twirl her and throw her like the more experienced couples there, but I was just trying to get the basic movements down as this was all new to me. Poor guy. Could you go up?
Sure.
Thank you. After roughly half an hour, she just kind of storms off with an angry expression. I followed to see what was wrong, not realizing what was going on at the moment. She is almost yelling at me from our table, saying the instructors are terrible and that she just wants to dance. Embarrassed, as people are now looking at the commotion, I explained once again that everyone is doing their best. There was a bar set up and caterer for all the people attending the class, and she just walked away to get a drink after I finished speaking. I felt terrible in the moment, as it felt like I was the problem. I just walked away to another part of the museum to look at the displays, as I felt embarrassed as well as hurt. She came to find me later and asked to just go home since you're not gonna learn anything and she can't teach me. Now I'm a pretty confident individual, been boxing and doing martial arts since I was young, but hearing that crippled my confidence, especially since it was coming from my wife. Luckily, we had some friends in the class that came and found us, and they offered me some pointers and took some time to teach me. I danced with my friend's wife as she was learning too, and I had a lot of fun. After a while, my wife came and apologized to me, but it was more of a half apology. She said, "I'm sorry I acted that way, but once I got to dance with someone a little more experienced, I felt better and realized I mistreated you." As we were still in public, I just accepted it. We talked about it later, but I still feel hurt. There's been other instances like this, and I have more or less come to terms with that my wife is a bit of a control freak, as even if I make a valid point about something, it is only how she feels and how her opinion matters. Her mother is the same way with her father, so I guess I should have seen this coming. This applies to most things, especially when it comes to fun activities we try. Everything has to go perfectly according to how she sees it, otherwise, she just complains and refuses to have fun or live in the moment, like an immature teenager. This is even prevalent when we are just sitting watching a TV show. I could always be doing something better. We have talked about this countless times, but there never seems to be an actual change. I love my wife as she has a lot of great qualities, but this really drives me away from her. I find myself being more relaxed when I'm away from her playing video games or I'm out doing something with my friends or myself. I sometimes wish I had waited longer to marry her, but I only really started to notice this when we were married.
There we
This is so
go.
sad. I feel so bad for this guy.
So I will say that I know people like this. Um, they happen to all be female, but I potentially they could also be male. So I don't want to I don't want to discriminate there. Um, it's a very
Yeah,
like
I think it's a female quality that is.
well I'm sure some guys are like this too. Um, it's basically controlling. I feel, and it definitely it's a terrible environment to be part of, especially if it's like your partner. It's very stifling. You feel like you can't escape from that, and this person's trying to
Mhm.
control every like aspect of your life.
Mhm.
Some people are happy with that. I think they want that kind of leadership from their partner, but that's not what I want. So I wouldn't want that for myself. But if other people are happy with that situation, then good for them. Um, but
Well,
I feel like if he
I feel
doesn't want that, then it's kind of it's a bit abusive. I think.
I think so too, especially because like she knows he has no experience in this. She could be a bit more understanding, and then saying like, Yeah, I felt better after I danced with someone more experienced. I mean, I understand why he says there's half an apology, because that's not an apology. That's an insult. An apology that's hiding an insult,
Mm.
basically.
She's basically
Um,
saying he didn't meet
you
her
suck.
needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently that is what she's doing a lot of the times, like saying like when they're watching TV, blah 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 blah. Um, I wonder if she even wants to be married to this guy because, I mean,
Well,
you don't
who's to know?
often
But yeah,
you don't
he
often
certainly having
find a
second
guy
thoughts.
you don't often find a guy who wants to like go dancing with you. That is, I mean, I would be very happy and I don't care if he's not good at it. It's something you can do as a couple. I mean,
Mm.
you can't expect someone to be just as good as you if you've done it for like your entire childhood.
If your partner like reaches out to do a hobby that you enjoy to try and get better at it, you
Hmm.
shouldn't be like having expectations that they'll be good at it if they've never done it before.
Yeah, or like
But the
set
fact
too
that
high
they're
expectations.
but the fact that they're even taking the initiative to join you for an activity that you're interested in shows no, that's definitely something. You know, that's they're making an
Yeah,
effort to better the relationship. So it should be seen as only a positive. The fact that they're even there.
yeah. I feel a bit sad for him because he also says like I wish I waited longer to marry her, but as they were dating like six
Oh,
years and
he should totally know.
married for two, after 4 years he should have known, but he said like she changed after we married. You hear this quite
Hmm.
often that people like are completely different before marriage and then they marry and they're like someone else.
Well, I don't know about this since I've never been married, but has anybody found
Neither
that?
have I.
Like, if you've like you think you know someone and then you marry them and there's someone completely different afterwards. Is that a thing? I guess it must be. Oh, Videl, hello,
Uh,
welcome in. We're probably just about to wrap up here, but um, Garish Lee says there are plenty of males like that. Yeah, I'm sure there are males like that. I just happen to have not met any males like that. Only females, and I know a few. Mama says yes. She's probably personally experienced that situation where she thought she knew a guy, and then once they got married, they're completely different. So,
yeah, someone in my chat says that it's also the same in a long-term relationship.
mhm. But I think people inherently change. Like you can't have the
Yeah,
expectation that your partner's going to be the same
someone stays the
forever.
same. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That is the fact. Like you either change and develop and change together in a similar direction, or you change that much that you can't find a common ground anymore, and then you grow apart.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, so Masquerader says you would go to a karaoke saloon and you would find and duet with a good female singer, and you could say the same words. I'm not sure I follow Masquerader, but yeah, it's good that you're getting out there with singing. um, all right. So, do you have any final thoughts, Ripin, for this, or just in general, for men's mental
um,
health?
well, I think we agreed on all of these stories today,
I
and that we
thought there
can
would
agree
be
that
I thought there would be some disagreement, but it turns out that we're
why? Why
yeah.
did you think that? Why does everyone always think that?
No, no, no. Like we agree on like a lot of stuff, and I thought this would be like the time where we would have some different opinions, but it turns out we're much more similar than I thought.
um, well, my thoughts on this are that men's opinions and men's feelings also matter. Um, and I hope that whenever you're with something that you find a place where you can like go to, whether it's like your parents, your close friends, your siblings, or whatever. Um, I don't know. I couldn't like refer to any help organizations as we're in different countries, but I mean, if someone ever has a problem, whoever it is, I want to be open to that and listen and try and help you find like the right help for you because that's my job. Um, so yeah, if something ever happens, you hit my Instagram, send me a DM, and or Discord, send me a private message, and I'll try and help whoever it is. I'm very good at keeping secrets. Also, I am under law. I cannot like blah blah blah.
So under did you say under law?
Yeah, so I'm a licensed social worker, and in Belgium, a licensed social worker has the obligation that when someone confides in you in this setting of social work, confides a problem in it to you, you have to like have a secrecy pact.
Hmm.
You so when you cannot go and tell people about what that person told you unless it's in the the line of seeking help for that person, and you can only like share what is necessary for the help for that person. So if someone is, for example, came to me like I have financial problems, I have a relationship with this person, blah 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 blah, and I was set to set up help for this financial problems, I only deal that, not like all the personal stories with the help organization. But I go before for instance to like a therapist, suggest a therapist for relationship problems and tell them that's part of the story but not about the financial issues. The only thing is that, and it's a bit the same as with nurses and doctors in our country, they have like an oath that they are obliged. And as I did 2 years of nursing and uh, first aid, I've kind of like fall between that too, that whenever something happens, you are legally obliged to help in that case. So as a social worker, when someone shares a very deep personal problem, I'm in first instance obliged not to go tell anyone else because that could like jeopardize the trustworthiness of my being a social worker.
So everybody, Ripon will keep your secrets. That's what I'm hearing here. Your deepest,
Sadly, I do.
darkest
You know,
secrets.
the only
If you
the
commit
only
crimes,
person I
she
tell
won't tell
my
anybody.
well, I do have a like also like a what is it called, like a um public service thing that when the public population is in danger of something, I do have to like
Okay.
notify authorities. So if
So
someone comes to me and
sure.
says, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill this person," I do have to notify that.
Okay. All right. Then hold back on all your murdery thoughts from Ripon. All right. Just for all the murderers out there, just don't. Yeah, just to stay safe. Um. All right. So, uh, Rippon's obviously much more qualified at talking about this stuff than I am. I'm glad to be a.
No.
I'm glad to discuss this with her. My thoughts. I guess in general, my main thing is I feel like whenever you approach like an issue to do with like men or women, like you always apply. If you reverse the genders, is it okay? Do you have the same opinion? And if not,
Hmm.
why not? Because in reality,
Exactly.
you really should think the same, regardless of which gender it is. People should be treated like people,
True.
even if men and women aren't the same. Um, we should strive for that goal. I think so. That's I just have very simple thoughts about that.
I
And
think I agree with that completely.
yeah, and yeah, if you've got like important men or males in your life, your children, your fathers, your brothers, your friends, doesn't hurt to reach out to them and see if they need help. If they look like they're suffering, um, they'll. I think maybe they won't appreciate it, but it's good to try. Um,
Yes, indeed.
all right, so I.
So in lines of that, I have to say, see
Hmm?
you, my furry friend. I appreciate you.
Aw, I appreciate you too. I'm doing the hearts.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can see it here.
Yay!
Yay! Very nice. And we appreciate everybody who's come to watch our stream today.
Yes, and who joins and mean